Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about two of the most talked about credit card stocks out there. We have Visa and Mastercard. So just to make sure you guys understand, this red line here is Mastercard. This line here is Visa. So both of these stocks have been beaten down due to the whole coronavirus situation. Of course, with many economies on lockdown and things like that, a lot of people have not been able to go around society and swipe their credit cards or tap them or just buy things in general. So this will obviously have a short-term effect on the earnings of these companies, but I believe that global spending and spending in the United States especially will bounce back sooner than we expect. So be sure to watch this video for its entirety and leave a comment at the end of this video, guys. So what's going on with these two companies? Well, as we can take a look here, if we just click over here on Trading View, we can see that these stocks are basically trading almost in similar ranges. So both these stocks are down around 17% for Visa and 19% for Mastercard over the last 3 months. And then if we take a look at the 1 month graph, we can see that these stocks are up a bit. So the question is, which stock is better? So I want to give you guys kind of a comprehensive overview and compare each of these stocks. I'm going to take their metrics and we're going to basically sit down and compare them together. So first I wanted to show you a very interesting, first I wanted to show you a very interesting article that basically talks a lot of positives about Visa stock. Obviously in the future for the long term, and a lot of the same principles apply to Mastercard. So some of you guys out there have seen the stock prices fall so much, don't worry, because we all know we're moving to a cashless society. So Visa and Mastercard are both in a great position to benefit from that transition. So as you can see here, it says, so you can see here it says, if people aren't spending money, then it's a lot harder for credit card companies like Visa to make a profit. And that's the conundrum facing Visa stock these days. The novel coronavirus impact the U.S. and global economy has been horrific, with the International Monetary Fund warning of the worst global downturn since the Great Depression. It calls it the Great Lockdown. So as it goes in, it talks a bit more about that. Let's get to the meat of the article. So as you can see here, it says Visa stock is down more than 11% so far in 2020, but that's an encouraging improvement from where we were just a month ago when the stock was down more than 27%. It is outperforming both the Dow Jones Industrial Average and its competitor Mastercard. So the other two bigger credit companies out there, Discover and American Express, are down a lot more. So Visa is actually the top performer in terms of comparison to Mastercard year to date, and it's far outperforming American Express and Discover. So basically what's going on is that a lot of the banks have posted really bad earnings as they're preparing for an increase in loan default. So what's also troubling in the short term is that it says March retail sales numbers also raise a red flag. Economists have predicted a horrific 8% drop due to the coronavirus pandemic, but even that pessimistic forecast wasn't dire enough. The final number is 8.7 drop, which is the biggest fall in retail sales in 28 years. So, of course, Visa stock is doing bad because remember guys, Visa is not a bank, neither is Mastercard. So what they are basically the middleman. They make money when you tap or swipe, and they don't take any of the risk. All of the risk is on the banks. So the good thing about the stocks like Visa and Mastercard is that they're not going to have to worry about loan defaults and all those things. That's what JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, those guys are going to have to worry about that. So basically the one thing that we have to deal with is the downtick in volume, because if there's a lower transaction volume, then that means Visa and Mastercard are earning less money on transaction fees and merchant fees. So as you can see though, it's basically Visa is fundamentally sound. As it says here, the market cap of 367 billion. It has its profit margin is extraordinary, 52.6%, better than all of its competitors. So I want to talk a little bit more about that profit margin and compare the two, because I think it's very interesting when you're choosing a stock. So as you can see here, I'm on Yahoo Finance. You guys can just go to finance.yahoo.com and type in the ticker symbol Visa to get these numbers. Very easy to do. Okay, so you just head over to Yahoo Finance. You can see here we're looking at a 52.6 profit margin. And another number that I like to look at as well, a leverage free cash flow of $9.65 billion, along with the forward dividend yield of 0.74%. So it doesn't take much, much digging to see that Visa is, in my opinion, the strongest credit stock out there. And I personally, obviously I'm a little biased as well because I have a Visa card, I use a Visa debit card, and I use my Visa debit card every day. Couldn't imagine my life without it. So I am a very, very strong proponent of Visa stock. I like to invest in companies that I actually use myself. I feel like I've seen a lot of great investors do the same things. I know Warren Buffett, he's famous for, eating McDonald's French fries and drinking Coca-Cola at all of his annual shareholder meetings. So I believe in kind of putting my money where my mouth is and, investing in things that I use myself personally. So as you can see here, we took a look at some of those numbers for Visa. So now let's head over to Mastercard. So Mastercard is also another very strong company, but me personally, I'm leaning more towards Visa basically because their profit margin isn't as good, so it's only 48% compared to Visa's 52%. They have lower leverage free cash flow, only 6 billion, and their forward dividend yield is lower. So for me, basically, Mastercard is just a much more expensive stock, but it has a much smaller market cap compared to Visa, and I think Visa has a much stronger moat. So what do I mean when I talk about moat? When I talk about moat, I just think Visa is always known as accepted everywhere. They're the official Olympic sponsor. I just feel like more people are familiar with Visa than MasterCard. But MasterCard is still a good stock as well. I'm not saying it's a bad one. I'm just saying I simply prefer Visa. Yeah, you see here it talks a bit more. It talks about the acquisition that Visa had when they picked up Plaid. Plaid is basically what a lot of websites and apps use to share financial information and allow their clients and their users to connect with banks. So as you can see here, it says Plaid lets its users share financial information and connect their bank accounts with apps and services such as Acorns, Betterment, Chime, TransferWise, and Vimeo. As roughly 75% of global internet connected consumers use a fintech service to transfer money, it's incredibly smart for Visa to get in on that business. And of course, I just mentioned its dividend. So basically, for me, Visa is the more attractive stock, but I want to give you guys some compounded annual growth rate numbers because I'm a big proponent of that. I think it helps separate a lot of the noise that we see when we read these articles and dig into these numbers and stuff like that. So let's just start with Visa. As always, guys, I really love Morningstar's trailing returns. I think they're one of the only sites out here that has such great numbers on this data, and they also compare it to not only the industry but the underlying stock market benchmark. So as you can see, if you had invested in Visa over the last 5 years, you would have earned 21% compounded annual growth rate and 22% over the last 10 years. So now let's take a look at these same numbers with MasterCard. So with MasterCard, those numbers are actually stronger. So with MasterCard, you would have earned 24% over the last 5 years and 26% over the last 10 years. So over the long run, MasterCard stock is actually outperforming Visa stock, and that's basically why you've seen MasterCard stock price rise so much higher. If we take a look at both of these stocks. Okay, so taking a look at the year-to-date chart, we can see that MasterCard stock price is much higher than Visa, and one of those reasons is I showed you guys earlier those compounded annual growth rate numbers. So let's about wrap things up. For me personally, I think Visa has the better profit margin, the better dividend, and the better free cash flow. So that is the stock that I'm going to be buying more of, and I've been buying more of Visa. Slowly, of course, because the stock is $169, and I do think there's some other stocks out there that I like a lot, especially stocks like Tesla and Shopify. But I've been trying to remind myself not to forget about Visa stock because Visa stock, this could be the last time that we see it this cheap for a long time. This stock was on a major tear until the whole coronavirus situation kind of derailed the stock. So as you can see here, the stock was trading at about $213. And in my opinion, if things had been going as normal, people were spending a ton of money with Visa and things like that. That really derailed the stock. So, guys, obviously, earnings are going to be coming up soon with both of these companies, and we expect earnings to be very bad. This is definitely one of the sectors that was hugely affected by the coronavirus epidemic. Even though people are buying things online, e-commerce is nowhere near big enough to replace all of the lost revenue and lost transaction value that people basically have not been doing because they've been indoors most of the time. So, guys, I think it's important that we kind of don't really take a look at any 2020 guidance numbers. We let the earnings report do the talking and be prepared for some of these stocks to potentially go lower. But for me, this is an excellent, excellent buying opportunity. Okay, so if you guys were a bit worried about where Visa stock is going to the short term, just want you guys to see basically what we're looking at over the long run. So stocks like these, obviously, the markets are driven by emotions, greed, and fear. So in the short term, you're going to see some price swings, but in the long term, the true retained earnings of the business should reflect in the stock price. So if you can see here, over the last 5 years, the stock price has been doing very well. And then basically ever since both of these companies IPO'd, it's been a very pleasant ride for investors. So I hope this kind of gives some more clarity on what I think about both of these stocks. Me personally, I have a preference for Visa, but I can understand if you're interested in Mastercard. It has the better compounded annual growth rate, and it's cheaper. So the market cap is a lot less. When I say it's cheaper, I don't mean in price, I mean in terms of how much the market cap is. So potentially there could be more growth for Mastercard in the future because of the lower market cap, but I think Visa has the wider moat and the stronger brand, and that's the stock I'm going to own. But I actually used to own both of these stocks. I used to own Mastercard in my Stash Invest, but I ended up selling almost everything in my Stash Invest. So I'll talk about that in a later video. But right now, hope that clarifies a lot on what I think about Visa and MasterCard. So if you're new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel for more videos on Visa and MasterCard stock. I talk a lot about Visa stock because I personally own it, but I'm going to be talking more about MasterCard as well since you guys told me to do so in the comment section. And smash that like button as well if you enjoyed this video, guys. I post videos every day about the stock market. So please, if you like this content, do so by showing your appreciation with a like and leave a comment below. So what do you think about Visa or MasterCard? Which stock is a better buy? Be sure to leave your reason in the comments below. Don't just say Visa or MasterCard because a lot of people are reading the comment section and perhaps they want to know exactly why you like the stock. So be sure to leave a couple sentences or two with your explanation. So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to wrap this video up. Until next time, take care.